If you've got 63 songs and you're a judge in Latvia, why listen to all of them? Have the public do it for you. Yes, Supernova, they have revealed all of their Eurovision 2018 submissions, and they've asked the public to vote, to have a listen, and we've done just that. Should we talk about them?
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
You guys, I'm going to kick this off with my personal favorite, and I'm going to say this wrong. It's Esamiba, Existence. This is beautiful. It's like Handel's water music, Take Me to Church, Renaissance revival. It's got lots of strings, it's very wedding music, it's very Blackbird in that it's so different. I don't think this would do well at Eurovision, but I think it really stands out in a sea of kind of Spotify-friendly or trying to be Spotify-friendly songs. Yeah, it'd be great on a movie soundtrack. I really like it.
Yeah, in our comments, we've had a lot of Latvians saying that they really like this song. I think the lyrics, especially the song's all in Latvian, but the lyrics are very touching and it's striking a chord with people who speak Latvian. I don't know if it'll have the same impact for non-Latvian speakers, but it does have something that is really unique compared to the rest of the songs in that 63.
I think I thought of Blackbird straight away when I heard it as well, but it's kind of as if the blackbird, do you know there's the nursery rhyme where the baker puts all the blackbirds in his pie, and this blackbird kind of realizes it's going to die because it's just such a miserable song that it just bores me. Like Blackbird had kind of an evolution to it. This is just, I don't know. But see, the thing as well is that I could be overly harsh, because when I was trying to get through all these 63 songs in the voting thing, if it didn't impress me in the first 30 seconds, I gave it the thumbs down. And it takes ages for this to get started.
Fair enough. So Porrig, what is your pick?
My number one, it's far from perfect, but it's the song that has the most instant appeal, and that's Staccato.
When you hold me legato, my heart beats staccato. My heart beats staccato.
Whoever this woman is, she's very clever. I don't know if she even knew there was this process, but the chorus is at the very beginning and the hook. So straight away it's staccato, and that gets lodged in your head, and then you're like, oh, this is really great. And then the verses come, and it's not so great. But then she gets back into the staccato. It needs some work, but like, it really stood out for me amongst all these songs. There were so many songs with kind of the Baltic dance beat that you kind of hear at Easty Loud as well, and then there was ones with little bits of Latin flavour, and then there was so many now that like, so many, do you know the way Latvian men have this really distinct accent where they all sound like the beaver? There were so many songs like that. So this stood out as fresh and kind of folksy, and it kind of reminded me of Navi Band a little, in that kind of style, not traditional Belarusian, but kind of the folk.
Yeah, I gotta say, in this field of kind of drab songs, this does stand out. I don't particularly like it. I think it has the most cringe lyric of the whole thing. They say, when you hold me legato, my heart beats staccato. I mean, the music metaphor has gone too far. It's like someone, who plays the cello was like, I'm going to pop music. Zara Larsson's Symphony, I can do it too. Just a little awkward for me, but I could see why people like this. My tip is for this Martina Barta sound-alike to get remixed by Joust.
Yeah, that's one of my favourite songs. It's just a really lovely, catchy pop song, and it sort of leaves you feeling like really happy. And I also think it's something that would probably come across really well visually. It's something like a lot of these songs, you listen to them and you think, well, that's a really nice song. Then you sort of listen to them a bit more and think, well, but wait, how would that work on stage? One of the favourites we've seen in the forum, in our poll, people are saying it's called Divi Cilveki. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And that's another Latvian one. It's really kind of moody and But then as it goes on, the lyrics kind of die out. And about the second half of it's mostly instrumental, or it's just Divi Cilveki repeated over and over again. And it's like, how would that come across at Eurovision? What would they be doing on stage? It would have to have phenomenal staging to work. Otherwise, it would just feel quite empty and lots of, I don't know, the cameraman would be very busy.
You know what? Bring a bed. I can tell you what happened. The singer got bored with her own music and she went to bed. This is like Enya on sleeping pills. What did my notes say? Oh yeah, there's a real enunciation issue at the beginning. And I'm not trying to be vulgar, but it almost sounds like she says, "Get ready to suck me." And it just sounds very, I don't speak Latvian, but other people have commented on this too. It's like people are mishearing this. It's just very awkward. I'm not a fan.
I had the same mishearing problem with that song. There's another one called Baltic, and there's a line in that that sounds exactly like "you have to sweat to be a Fraulein in the West." And she's singing English. This isn't Latvian. I'm pretty sure it's English, so no idea what's going on there.
Cringe. Another song we have to talk about is This Time, Markus Riva.
'Cause every time you lie, every time you lie, I thought we could make this right. Should've learned from the last time, and every single time we gotta try. You remind me why I had to say goodbye.
Now, I gotta say, it is generic, but I really like it. This is a very Spotify-friendly song that I could hear doing well. It's kind of tropical house, and like it builds quite nicely. There's a drum that comes in. Marcus's voice has improved, I mean, leaps and bounds since he first entered. And I think if you gave this a good visual treatment, kind of like how Joust had those masks and stuff, like you could make this really pop. The song isn't that big at the moment, but again, you can make it big with visuals and maybe with some tweaks before the actual show. I quite like this actually, and because he's improved so much vocally, I think there could be something in it.
I think Markus Riva peaked in 2015. Because this time, and then he has his other song, what's it called?
I'll Never Let You Go.
Yes. And I don't think it's his time in either case. I think they're probably, at least one of them is good enough to get to the live shows because there's so much dross in this selection of songs. But and his name probably would help as well ultimately because they want ratings and he's a big enough star there. But like you were saying, it's generic Spotify, but I don't know if it is good enough to be called generic Spotify. Like generic Markus Riva, he had his song, was it I Can 2 years ago, and he had, I forget what his song was last year, and neither of them made the final.
Yeah, Dynamite didn't do so well.
I quite like his second song in this year, I'll Never Let You Go.
Don't go, my love, there's no escape. Oh, I'll never let you go. No words, no more, I'll take control. Oh, I'll never let you go.
To me, that's quite an engaging pop song. It's not perfect. The lyrics are a bit kind of stalkery, and I've noticed that English speakers find lyrics like that to be a lot more problematic than non-English speakers. It just sounds a bit predatory. But yeah, he has so much potential, and he obviously really wants to represent his country at Eurovision. I just want it to be with a good song so he can do well and not get knocked out in the semi-finals.
We should point out these are unfinished products. They have time to tweak and refine ahead of the show, so hopefully the committee, whoever they may be, will call MNTHA and sort this stuff out.
But I have a tip for Markus that if he wants to get to Eurovision, he should stop releasing his good songs as singles during the summertime and keep them for Supernova.
We should also talk about Soledad, which is the Despacito of Supernova. I think we'll be seeing this a lot with national finals all the season. Despacito was such a huge hit, and it has such a distinct, catchy sound. And so Soledad is doing that. It's all in Spanish.
Es soledad, qué dolor, hay soledad, qué traición, lo que siento, soledad de amor. Es soledad, qué dolor, hay soledad, qué traición.
It has that sort of groovy, beachy, let's all have a good time feeling to it. what's the connection between Spain and Latvia? There might be one.
There's
but-
a very large Puerto Rican expat community in Riga.
Yeah. I would be surprised if this made the final cut, but it might, because I know there are some people who are saying they really like it. It's really catchy. If you're not bothered by the comparison with Despacito, then you'll probably be okay with it.
I think it's one thing to sort of ride a trend, but this sits on the trend, absorbs the trend, then spits it out on you. And I don't mind that. I think it's fun, and they really need some diversity in the selection, because I think there's a lot of jazzy songs or big band songs, people trying to be, I don't know. I like this because it stands out.
Amongst all the MNTHA wannabes and crooners and all this, it's bright and sunny and summery, and it'll warm up whatever January or February evening that Supernova is on. And I don't like, so many other national finals borrow from other cultures. Like Melfest has Dolly Style and Sahara singing Kizunga, or I forget the name.
Kizungu Zungu.
Yeah, like they've Africa and Japan and all these cultures thrown in. So like, it's not that much of a stretch for Latvia to get a bit of Spanish.
Now, Porg, I think you're a pacifist, aren't you?
Yes. It depends who angers me. But yeah, I get what you're hinting at now. The one that stands out for all the wrong reasons, Stop the War, You Too. And
We say world, hold the world, hold the world, let's stop the war. We say world, hold the world, hold the world, make peace alone.
it really confuses me, because this man starts singing, and at first it's kind of like as if he's trying to put on a really heavy Dublin accent, and I kind of presumed it was Dublin because when U2 is mentioned in the song, that's where U2 come from. But then it kind of morphs into a Jamaican accent, and it goes kind of reggae, and I don't know what is going on. The lyrics are complete nonsense. It would be a miracle for this to make it out of the whatever this round is called, the qualification round, but it could get in for shits and giggles kind of way.
Yeah, I don't know if they're talking about U2 the band, or like U2 like Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump, or like Russia and Ukraine. Maybe there's a veiled, timely message that we're too ignorant to understand.
But does everyone just everyone just calm down, please?
You too.
There's also one that people called it's either Ika or IKA that people have. I'm pretty sure is by MNTHA, who's a regular. It's quite moody, dreamy, a bit sort of electronic, very unusual when you compare it with the others. If it is, it seems quite likely that it would make the selection just because it's so unusual and well done. I'm not a particular fan of it, but I can see it like making up the mix.
I'm just waiting for a skeleton to pop out of my computer. This reminds me of when I was like 9 and you go trick-or-treating at Halloween, and the dad next door kind of does his garage up to scare you, and you walk through, and then MNTHA pops out with this song playing. It's just, this is Halloween, but it's not going to be Halloween when they choose their Eurovision act, so it's a big no. I respect her though.
Yeah,
and all women, in fact.
It's bizarre and quirky, but I don't think it's bizarre enough to kind of capture the people's imagination. But then the one thing, when MNTHA did quite well back in 2015, it was as much her stage presence and her blue hair and all that kind of, it was the whole package that kind of caught the imagination. So maybe that will elevate her if she does make it to the live shows, and if this is MNTHA, of course. But I think as a track that you would play purely audio, it doesn't grab me at all. And like, the song contest isn't about slow burner songs. Like, it's very unusual. Like, even Salvador Sobral, his song had kind of an instant enough feel that it kind of transported you to a place, whereas this, it doesn't really.
Yeah, it really lacks that Nafili Bata realness. Like, whatever she had in 2015, it was weird, and yet it like gripped you. This doesn't grip me, it scares me. so that we don't spend all night in Latvia, let's just go around with our final thoughts. I'll just say that winning our poll at the moment is Running Red Lights.
Oh, you got all of me for such a long time. Took all you could get, but no, you can't. I'm breaking you off, breaking you off. We're running through the lights. We're running red lights. Running.
You know, the song is a little generic to me. It doesn't do anything for me. But 2 minutes in, I do like how they try to mix it up by kind of increasing the tempo, and there's like the psychic surge, and like I imagine this is what drugs would be like. I wouldn't know, but like there's something about it that just seems psychedelic for that split second. But I don't think it's enough to save the song.
Yeah, that one's apparently by Katrine Lukins, who was in in Supernova last year. She's a young Latvian singer, so I think she's someone who eventually it will be her turn. But yeah, it's like it's a good song. It's got some good stuff happening, but it doesn't quite feel right. And I think that's like a lot of songs in the Supernova lineup. You're listening to them going, it's good. It just needs a stronger chorus, or it just needs a better ending. You know, there's always something that isn't quite right about a lot of these songs. So it'll be interesting to see if there are any transformations, revamps before the live shows.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what songs are picked and what makes it live, because at this moment in time it's just so hard to judge songs individually because they all blur into one, and to go and listen to them all again to find out what one you liked. And I found myself getting frustrated towards the end of it after like nearly an hour trying to listen to these. I didn't hear a Eurovision winner. During, out of all 63 songs, no song kind of stood out and went bam.
Yeah, I just want to say, in 2016, I was on this panel that shows, like, whatever, you ranked your top 24, and there were 83 songs that year. And I just remember at the end of it, it was all mush, like you said, and the top-ranked song of mine that made it was the that horrible group that almost
The
won.
hard rock.
Yeah, and I don't know why, Catalepsy or something. But it's just to say that there are risks here. When you hear all these songs in a row, sometimes you'll vote for something or choose something just because it stands out in a sea of dross. But hopefully, when it's down to 24 or whatever it is, I can't remember, the public will have more to work with. And there are semifinals for a reason, so you can actually focus.
And one thing as well, this is Latvia, and I didn't hear any Samantha Tina. So
Ooh. I didn't hear a Wind Machine either.
That's quite sad.
Even Artsvik behind you looks sad.
We fell out. Do you remember we fell out over Samantha Tina in the past?
I'm
so-
still bitter. Me and Denise respect her. Any woman who can pose with a horse in her Eurovision promo photos, she gets it. In any case, that's what we think. What do you think? Did you make it through all 60 plus songs? Which were your favorites? And is there a Eurovision winner in the bunch? You can let us know here on wiwibloggs.
Make sure to subscribe.
And give us a like.
And we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.